How you doing? Duff here. Time for another automotive project video. So, those of you that follow the channel may know that Cindy and I were on a road trip last week. All week we went up to the northeast. We went as far north as Maine and back here. And when I got back, I took the Prius behind me to work. We took Cindy's Ioniq on the road trip, which actually worked out quite well. But I usually use the Prius as my daily driver. And I took it to work on Monday, and when I fired it up to go to the gym at lunchtime, all of a sudden a red triangle came up, the DSC warning light came up, and the check engine light came on, and kind of freaked me out a little bit. The transmission felt a little strange. It just felt, I don't know, it could have been the engine turning on and off, I don't know, but it did feel a little bit weird when I drove in that morning, that I did notice. And of course I was freaking out because the last thing I need is a major problem with the Prius. So what I actually did was when I came home, I put the code reader on it to see if it actually had any sort of check engine codes, and it didn't. It had no check engine codes. So I just basically issued the clear codes command, which basically clears any warning lights. It turned off, and doing so turned off the red triangle, turned off the DSC warning light, and it's been fine ever since. But that problem, when I first saw it, I started looking into general recommended steps and troubleshooting for the Prius, and came to my attention there's some simple maintenance items that I've been neglecting to do on the Prius. Of course, I change the oil and the oil filter regularly, you know, like every 5,000 miles or so, change the air filter. But one thing I have not done anything with is the transaxle fluid, the inverter coolant, or the main engine coolant on the car. I have not changed them since we've owned the Prius. When we bought it, it had like 134,000 miles on it, something like that. And now it has a little over 200,000, like 202,000. So it's never been done since I've owned it. I have no idea if it's done. It's been done by the previous owners. Not sure. So I'm going to do the transaxle fluid first. And then if I have some time and some motivation, I'll do the inverter coolant next. So come along on this fun journey with me. So the inverter coolant, just FYI, is right here. It just runs regular antifreeze, and I guess it's used to keep the inverter cool. And there's a auxiliary pump on here, the inverter coolant pump, which I guess is an item that some Prius owners have had an issue with. I think they actually had a TSB or a recall on that pump a while ago. I'm hoping mine was replaced at that point. So as far as draining this goes, I'm gonna probably I'm gonna have to put this up on ramps to get access to it. Let me go get the ramps and show you what we're looking at. Okie dokie. So here, right here, this is the drain for the inverter coolant. This is the drain for the transaxle fluid. And the fill for it is here. That is the fill. So I'm going to be using a tube to get it in there, obviously. So let me go get some tools. Okay, so I went and bought some hex bits for this. Had a few, but not a ton of them. So I just bought a set of metric hex bits, and hopefully I can get it off the freaking mount. How in the world did these come off? Evidently you need superhuman strength to pull these off, or pliers. Okay, with the pliers I was able to get that off, so, oh wow, that is too small. The heck is that? I have like hair in my mouth, or something else, something stringy. Okay, so that is a This is a 10mm hex bit. You're going to need that to get the drain plug out. And these are supposedly only torqued to 29 foot-pounds torque, so it should not be that difficult to break loose, in theory. Not too bad. I just have a normal catch pan here. I have no idea what this fluid's going to look like, good or bad. Let's look. Ooh. People are going to give me shit for making a mess again. It does look pretty brown. More brown than red. Oh God, what a mess. The good thing is the Florida climate kind of eats this stuff up in no time whatsoever. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever changed the transmission fluid in any of my vehicles. I've always had someone do it for me, or I've just pushed, or I haven't owned a vehicle long enough to care. Like I had someone do it on the Tacoma for me once. This did not look like rocket science, so I'm not overly concerned. But my untrained eye would say that this definitely looks like it's due. It just looks kind of, you know, brown with a slight hint of red. So I know if this finished draining out. I did actually buy a pack of replacement washers, believe it or not. So here's my old one. There's a new one. So I am going to replace the metal washer, even though I don't know that it's 100% necessary. I don't know if a lot of times these plugs are magnetic, so they collect if there's any metal shavings and stuff on the bottom, and there is some gunk on the bottom of this, so maybe there was a little bit of metal. Yeah, it does look like a magnet. So maybe there was a little bit of metal floating around in there, so it's a good thing I'm changing it. Okay, we're down to a drip, so I'm going to put the plug back in. Alright, like I said, this is supposed to be the 29 foot-pounds torque. I'm gonna tighten it snug. I don't have a torque wrench that reads accurately at that low of a number. So I think snug will be fine. So now got that back in there, and now I need to remove the drain plug, or I'm sorry, the fill plug, so I can refill it with transaxle fluid. Okay, just FYI, the socket for the fill plug, it's a 24mm socket, which may not be in everybody's socket set. It's kind of on the big side. A lot of socket sets only go up to 21mm, so just got that in the face. So make sure that you have a 24mm socket before you start this. It wasn't too tight. Fell out on my face very easily. Okay, again, looks like this is the same size washer, so I will replace that as well. And I don't think I mentioned, yeah, it is, okay. I don't think I mentioned, this is something that they talk about doing, I think every 50 to 60,000 miles, replacing your transaxle fluid. So best case scenario, if the guy that we bought this from changed it right before we bought it, I'm still at over like 75,000 miles, and I have a sneaky suspicion he did not. So this could have been, who knows, 100,000 miles since this has been done, if not longer. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but right here, I know, I'm sorry. Right here is the drain, or the fill right there. So that's what I'm going to be snaking my tubing into. So what I did is I bought some 1/2-inch clear PVC tubing to go over my funnel, and I'm just going to cut a generous portion of this off, and then I'm going to feed this from the top. I'm going to feed this from up here Just try to, it's hard to see. Just trying to get it down and through. All right. I'm gonna try through the front. Since this is all coiled up, it doesn't want to exactly feed very straight, as you can imagine. And I would recommend doing this on a cool engine. All right, so I'm gonna start it up top. Here it is. Okay, here's my other end, and I'm just going to stick it in there. I'm just going to stick it in there several inches. Let me get it in, then I'll show you. Okay, I got it in there. This 1/2-inch tubing, and it was a little tight, so I actually cut a little slot in the end just so I could compress it a little bit to get it in there. And once I did that, I have it stuffed in there several inches now. So now it's time to add some fluid. Okay, I did get the genuine Toyota ATF-WS transmission fluid. I got this on Amazon. I'll have links in the description below. Because if you can get OEM, might as well go with OEM, just to be safe. So this should take close to a gallon, but I'm going to just add fluid and see how we go. And you see I have my tubing on my funnel. This looks much better than what I took out, that's for sure. And basically the way you judge how full this is fluid starting to fill out of that drain. That's when you know it's full. And the fact that I'm up on a pair of car ramps is going to make it a little under what it should be. So I might back it off, do the final. Oh no, I think it might work out just about right. We'll see. Two down. Okay. Port number 3 going in. You want to make sure that your funnel is very clean. This one is brand new. You know, it might not be a bad idea to have designated funnels for designated fluids. You know, like this could be my automatic transmission funnel. I have another funnel I use for oil, just to be safe. Okay, so that's 3 in. So for this 4th one, I'm gonna probably have Cindy up top pouring it. Whoa. Pouring it so I can be underneath and watch and see if it starts to back up, so I know when it's actually full. I'm recruiting Cindy to be my helper. She's going to help me pour the last quart in so I can watch the fluid level down below.
Forgive my attire, I was mowing the grass.
Yeah. Just go slow. Hold on a second. Alright, so as usual, there's a gotcha with this project for me. I had Cindy adding the fluid. I had her adding the 4th quart slowly, and she got it all in. I'm like, oh wow, okay, I didn't expect to get quite all of it in. But I wanted to check the level when the car is actually level, because right now it's on ramps. So I didn't expect it to be that much different. So I had her back it off, and then I backed the fill plug out, and all of that drained out. So it was that overfilled from it being up in the air like that. So I'm not really sure what the good solution for that is, short of if you have, obviously doing this on a lift would be ideal. You could jack the back end so the car is more level when you're adding it, or if you had a second set of car ramps, I believe you should be able to drive all 4 wheels up on the ramp at once so the car is at level. But definitely trying to fill it accurately while the front end is up on the ramps is not the way to do it, because If I would have let that as is, it would have been pretty significantly overfilled. But I do have the cap back on now, and I'm gonna just take it for a quick test drive, make sure it's okay. Since I'm gross, I have Cindy going out to do a test drive for me. But by my estimation, I bet that was overfilled. I don't know, at least a half a quart, if not more. Unfortunately. So to get the best drain, again, I think it would be best to have the car level. So maybe next time I try this, I'll buy another set of car ramps and try to get all 4 wheels at the same height. Okay, Cindy's back from her test drive. She said it felt good. Everything felt normal. So that's good. I'm putting the old transmission fluid into the transmission fluid containers to get disposed of somewhere. Alright, so I'm just finishing up here, but I think overall the operation was successful. I'll again be driving the car every day this week just to verify that nothing is weird, but based on the way this old fluid looks, it's definitely a good thing that I swapped it out. It needed to be done. And I will be sure to do it on a scheduled basis from now on. So that's it. On to the inverter coolant fluid. Till next time, duff me out. Oh, just FYI, I was having issues getting that hose into the filler outlet, so I stole this piece off of another old funnel set that I had, just inserted it into the hose, and that made it much easier to get that fitting into the refill hole. So you might want to do that yourself.